Hi, I'm Melanie Potter. Spring has sprung, and today we're doing wildflowers. This particular design was inspired by the wildflowers along the central coast of California. And this particular little bouquet is something I picked yesterday on one of my walks. And it's very similar to what I did when I designed this piece. I picked the flowers and looked at them, and if you look at the petals, you can kind of see the shapes of them and then decide on how you want the design to look, and that's what I did. And with that in mind, this piece is a pendant necklace, pin, and earring set. And today I'm going to demonstrate how I make the petals. These petals work up pretty fast, and they're stiff enough to stand on their own and also move. And they make a real nice little set of earrings and a really cute pin or pendant. This piece can be worn with the pin on a hat or a cape or a shawl, or it can be hung as a necklace. So what I'm demonstrating here, I've already done 4 petals. And I want to show you, what I start off with is I start off creating the bezel, but I don't close it yet. The bezel normally takes these little stones here, but I've learned that it's much easier if I first put the petals on and then stitch in the stone. And I use peyote to do that. So at this point, and the earrings, I want to show you the back of the earrings. The earrings have a little piece of chain on it. And what I do, and I found it the easiest way to do it, and I put this in my instructions just like this, I add my chain before I add the petals. It makes it much easier to stitch. Once I add the chain, I just hold it towards the back of the bezel, and I continue to stitch my petals. So let's start the petals. There's 2 rows of chevron chain, and they're done in different colors. The first row is this pretty purpley lavender color, and I start with 9 beads. I'm going to push them to my work, and I'm going to make the first chain for this petal. Stitching into the bezel tip. Now in chevron chain you have to use existing chains after the first one, so it's like a netting. So we're going to stitch into the 4th bead from the connector on the previous chain. There we go, we got 2 chains so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my third chain. Stitch into the bezel, the edge of the bezel. Now I have 3. It's my 4th chain. This is the last one. The first row only has 5 chains. I'm going to set up for the second row by going back through the bezel and up a leg of the first row of chain. I have to set up to get to the second row, and to do that I'm going to go up this leg, and then I'm going to go over 2. This sets me up on the outside edge of the first row, which will create an increase. That's why this second row is wider than the first row. So again, we use 9 beads. This procedure is repetitious, so it's easy to learn. Repetition is the mother of skill. Push it down to the first row, stitch, make my first chain on the second row in my new color. Okay, this is a great little design for Mother's Day. If you have a gift that you want to give, it works up pretty quick. The little earrings work up really quick, and they're fun for springtime. Continuing on. I'm just making the change just like I did before. You can see they're shaping up. Now in the second row there's 7 chains. That's what makes it wider. There's an increase on the second row. So the second row is wider than the first, which gives it the appearance of a petal that widens on the outside edge. This is my last chain for the second row. Now, to get this petal to really be stiff and sit properly, I really need to add gap beads. Let me explain. If you notice, this is not as clean as this petal, and that's because we have a gap here, and 1, 2, 3 at the top. We really need to fill those in. So to do that, I'm just going to go around. I pick up my first bead. I'm going to fill in the first gap. And I'm just going to stitch around, filling in the gaps so that this petal will sit stiffly as an armature and be movable without just flopping around. We want it to have some shape. Okay, this is my second gap bead. There's a total of 5 which we put on. Okay, and there's 3 more on the outer edge. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to show you this petal. Now this petal looks like the rest. And I only have 1 to go. This is pretty much done. Here's the finished piece. Once the petals are done, you end up cinching in your stone, these little stones here, and then you're going to add another round of chevron chain with 2mm crystals, little bitty tiny round crystals. And at that point, you're going to tie off your thread and you're actually ready to wear it. And you can make this as long or short as you want. In this particular piece, I'm actually making a shorter earring. And I'll attach my French ear wire to that. Well, I hope that was helpful, and I hope that you can get out and pick some wildflowers and get to beading.